Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about a subject of why are humans cruel and evil? Well, this goes back to the fact, and basically back in history, to the fact that we are animals. And I think a lot of times we forget it because we call ourselves humans, but in the end we are mammals. And by being mammals, well, we have some form of cruelty in ourselves at the same time, because the world is not as peaceful as we think of it. If you're alive, if you're standing, at some point or another, something has had to nourish you. Something has had to be able to give you that energy to fuel your body. And it can be done, obviously, through plants and fruit and various things that grow from the earth. But at the same time, we're omnivores, so we eat vegetable stuff, and we also eat we eat meat, so kind of like carnivores. But the thing is that we need to take from something in order to get that energy. It doesn't just come from the light that's around us and stuff like that. So in some way, whatever we are doing, whatever we are creating, it's just embedded in us, embedded in our DNA in some way, that we have to be able to feed off of something in order to stay alive. So that means that our past ancestors must have hunted. Our past ancestors have the same kind of instincts that lions and cats and all these things have, just because they're hunters. We're all hunters in some way or another, and we're gatherers at the same time. And the other thing about cruelty in humankind, which I think is more what we're trying to get rid of in some way, is wars and inequality and racism and hate, just for the reason of having hate, which is so silly and trivial sometimes. Because the thing with man, which is really bad, is that we definitely live our life as if we're never going to die, and once we're close to death and we're sick, we do everything we can in order to be alive again. Kind of like the saying that Gandhi said, but he used money, where we work all our life to make all this money so we can stay the way that we are, and then once we're sick we spend all this money in order to be healthy again. So we never take advantage of our life because we're always struggling, we're always fighting, we're always never in the moment. And that's the disgusting thing about it. And at the same time, we are greedy creatures. We are people that can be sneaky. We are people that can do things that maybe are not always correct. We are people that also like to seek conflicts and all these things. And at the same time, we have people that we need to have governments in some way, because the fact of having a government, like, not everybody wants to do all the things that the government does, like you wouldn't want to do all these community things to clean the streets and figure out the pipes and all that stuff. So we need a sort of structure if we're going to live in a city. But at the same time, within countries and stuff, we still think too much of the world as countries and borders and properties, whereas we're actually part of this whole ecosystem. We are part of the world as well as part of the universe. And at the same time, even the universe itself, well, we don't really know what it is. We don't really know what's bigger. For the cells in our body, for example, we are the whole universe. They don't know what's beyond that. Maybe they do. But I'm going to kind of think of it as us. We don't really know, even though we kind of understand that there's space, there's planets, there's different constellations and stuff like that. But our universe, it's just so big. It's infinite. And what's beyond the infinity? Because if it's infinite, it keeps on going. And even if it's like a rubber band that's stretching and stretching and stretching, and then there's matter and antimatter, and then what's beyond the antimatter, you see, like it's part of like bigger pictures and bigger things that we don't necessarily need to completely understand. But we're just a speck in this whole universe. We're a speck in the galaxy. We're a speck in everything. Yet we give so much importance to things that actually don't even matter, because if you're lucky, you're going to live to 90 years old, or if you're super lucky, you'll live to 100. And if you're a normal human being, you might live to the median of 78 or whatever it is. And for people who are not lucky, well, they're going to die even younger. And if you're in a part of the world where you're able to read, get information, get a lot of things, well, you're even luckier. And we just take all these things for granted. And yet we're still going to fight and create cruelty, not just for the fact of feeding ourselves, but because we want to have possessions. We want to have cars. We want to have diamonds. We want to have electronics. We want to have all these things. But at the end of the day, at the end of the journey, at the end of everything, well, most people on their deathbeds don't really care so much about the possessions that they have. They usually care about the relationships that they made, the connections that they made, the experiences that they had in life. And no matter how much money you've made, no matter how much wealth you've built, or how big your house is, you can't take that in the afterworld. So at the place of thinking of the world as borders, it's mine, it's yours, this is property, once we realize that everything is part of that ecosystem and that we need that in order to actually live and survive and be prosperous, then we might not seek anymore this heaven and hell, because basically, well, heaven is right here. Heaven is this earth already. It's just up to us to decide on what side of the plane we want to live. If the other side of the pasture is always greener, well, we might as well just step on the other side and see what that green is, because nobody's stopping you from doing better for yourself and enjoying more. Well, that's it. That's all I have to say on the subject. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.